No matter how you knew Max, if you were a beloved family member, a neighbor from high school, from college, wherever your life led you to have a relationship with Max, that is an important reminder of just who Max was. Each of you have a special place in the heart, for Max in your heart as well, and that place is now just a little bit more empty. Most of you that knew Max, you know that he graduated from Jefferson High School in Cedar Rapids. He attended the University of Northern Iowa, graduating with a Bachelor of English degree, worked as an English teacher and GSA advisor at Washington High School here in Cedar Rapids. During the short time Max was at Washington High School, many students and co-workers have noted that Max was committed to ensuring that every student felt safe, welcomed, and able to be their authentic selves while learning. Max helped many students graduate and will forever live on in each of their successes. Max's passion for those things that were important, such as helping young people to find themselves, sharing poetry and books, were very special to Max. Traveling with family, going to movies and the theater are the things that he loved sharing with his family and friends. Max was also very active in many activities: Scouts, PTA, Phi Sigma Pi fraternity. I never can get this out right. But today we ask that you help the family and friends to celebrate the memory of Max and to be thankful for that life that when he walked among us. You will often bring to our minds the unique personality and accomplishments, dreams of the ordinary blessings of time spent together with Max. Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Some people move our souls to dance, then awaken us to understanding. With a passing whisper of their wisdom, some people make the sky more beautiful to gaze upon. They stay in our lives for a while, leave footprints in our heart, and will never, ever be the same. This is the definition of Max Killian Pike. I would like you to join me in a closing prayer, and then I will open up the remembrance section of this celebration. Will you pray along with me? Our Father, which art in heaven, how holy is your name. Your will oftentimes isn't ours, but you are always there to comfort us in our time of grief. Even when those we love are no longer with us in our earthly home, we know that they will be with you in your heavenly home, sitting by your side and waiting for us when we come into your kingdom. Bless these people that are grieving the loss of Max and help each of us care and love for each other. Hold each other a little closer and never forget to tell those you love how much they mean to you, how much they are loved, that your love for all humankind will be with us forever. We thank you, Lord, for this blessing. We thank you for the life that we are honoring today. Amen. So I'm going to read a message that was given by Dr. Sheila Benson, Max's college advisor at UNI. When I think of Max, I think of our Dickens class and Max's presentation about British money. Max loved all things British, and they contributed so much to the community of that class. Things just felt right when Max was in the room. I also think of our many advising conversations, both in person and then on Zoom during the pandemic lockdown, and the many, many times I asked how Tink was doing. I'm sure Tink joined our Zoom advising sessions. I first saw many collegial reunions at state teachers' education conferences. I did not foresee this early party. Max brought joy to my classroom and office. The world will miss your light, Max. I will miss your So now I will open up to anyone that would like to come forward and share a memory or a story. If you don't feel like sharing publicly, please remember to write on the journals on the table, and they can take them home and read them later. Would anybody like to say anything?
Ms. Xavier, I was one of Max Pike's students. I never had him as a teacher, but I went to GSA almost every week. I got the message that Max had passed 3 minutes before I got off work. It was the first message on my phone, and in reading the title, I thought one of the teachers had quit, and I opened it to see who it was. Standing in the back of my job, the words ran through me like a train, and I almost couldn't believe it. I thought that it was some kind of cruel joke, and that someone had hacked into the school system again, and that this was some kind of cruel joke. My second thought was his family. I thought about how much pain they were in, and the loss that they were suffering. And then I thought about the GSA. I thought about the GSA convention that we had gone to the year prior, and I remember how excited he was to tell us the activities that they had planned. I thought about my sophomore homecoming parade and how happy he was to lead the GSA in that. I thought about every time I walked into his room and felt the heat of the AC that had never been fixed. I remember how he would oblige the selfie I took every day for my parents so that they knew where I was, and the big smile that he gave me every time. I never had Max as a teacher, and unfortunately I never had the privilege, but I did have the honor of being his friend. Max Pike was one of the most supportive, loving, caring, happy human beings that I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, and I hope that he knew how much I loved him. I hope he knows how much that we all love him, and I hope that wherever he finds peace, that they finally fixed his AC.
Hi, I'm Vince Gotera, and I had the pleasure of having Max as a student in my poetry classes at UNI, and I really enjoyed working with Max, and in fact, he did an independent study in poetry with me, and that was really great to work personally with him, and I'm going to miss him a lot. And I thought I would read one of his poems that he wrote in my class. This is called Roses. He wrote about roses a lot, both their beauty and also the thorns. And this is a little poem called Roses. Red dots freckle the open fields as birds sing loving tunes. Every critter snuggles close, listening.
Those of you that know me know I'm a crier, but I'm going to try to get through this, and that's why I wrote it down. I was blessed to have the opportunity to teach with Max last year. He was exactly who I needed to transition into my new role. He restored my love of teaching. We spent many mornings and lunches together discussing how to best meet the needs of our students and what materials and activities would engage students in their learning discovery. We made modifications and accommodations so that each student could be successful, but we didn't lower our expectations. We really aligned in our teaching philosophies and our work ethic. He only missed one day of school in the entire year last year because he knew that the students depended on him to be there, and he felt best when he was helping others. Over the many weeks that we spent together, we developed a solid friendship. At first, I felt awkward to call it that, as I was 30 years older than he is. He's the same age as my oldest child. However, the things that we shared and the respect that we had for one another cannot be called anything less. I typically keep my circle very small, and I don't overlap my professional life with my life away from work. However, Max really understood me, and I felt comfortable with him. We could talk about anything. Max made sure to make sure that students knew that they were safe and that they were heard. He showed compassion and empathy for all. He got to know every student. Max was much more than a teacher and a coworker. He was a friend. I'm modifying a quote about grief to summarize how I will move through this next chapter without him. Death is merely a pause, a brief interval in our journey together. Everything remains unchanged. Our bond, our memories, our laughter, nothing has been altered. Let's continue to share the moments, thoughts, and smiles as we always have. Speak his name with the same warmth and familiarity as before. Don't let his absence silence the joy that we shared or cast a shadow on our memories. Life continues uninterrupted, and he'll be waiting for you just around the corner, eager to remind you of your purpose and how much you matter. Ready to ask if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, or interpretive yodels. I'll be working on my yodel, Max. Thank you for being there for me. I love you so much.
Hello. I didn't have Max as a teacher or anything, but I did go to his GSA quite frequently. I went almost every week when I was able to. But he always made sure that we were all safe and make sure we were doing well. And when we went to the GSA thing this year, I forgot what it's called, but he was so excited to do it with us and everything. But when my dad had told me about a teacher passing away, he didn't tell me who it was at first, but then when he told me, I immediately broke down into tears, and it was such a hard day. We all love Mr. Max, and he was just a really great teacher. I'm gonna miss him so much.
Hello, my name is Connor. I was one of the GSA co-leaders, and I've had the privilege to call Max Pike one of my personal friends. He has helped me re-engage my love of learning and has always helped to make sure that every single student in his care has felt safe. He's been a huge inspiration for all of us people who felt like we didn't belong in high school, be it because we are trans, gay, or any part of any community. He is one of the major parts of the school that made everything feel safe. And I am so sad that he isn't here with us today and that he won't be here with us any longer, but hey, he'll be here in our hearts at least.
Hi, my name's Trinity, and I was lucky to have Pike as my AP teacher last year. I was happy that even though it was unexpected, all of us senior class would get to pick a Scentsy every time he came into his broken air conditioning classroom. It was sweaty in there. I remember that every time we'd come in, if we were able to get through one chapter of Hamlet without getting off topic, we'd all get a sticker. And I will never miss, I will always miss our interpreted yodels after every class of us complaining about writing an essay. Even though you weren't my friend, I always thought of you as a sibling, as we would talk every lunch period about my family and my boyfriend's family. You helped me through so much, and it feels like just yesterday we were at graduation hugging each other and you telling me how proud you were that I graduated.
When I met Max, pretty much the first time, and I'm looking for his mother. Where is she? There you are. The first time I was introduced to Max was on Cleveland Elementary playground. Shelley needed to go back into the school to do something, and she asked me if I'd watched Max, and I, of course, said yes. I was standing under my child's play. The next thing I know, I'm getting tapped on the shoulder from a teacher asking me if Max was my child. Apparently called another kid an asshole.
4 years old.
doing? I'm really confused. I guess I'm the early part of Max because it was hissing. Anybody in the PTA family? Yeah, PTA family knew. For 2, 3, 4 years, Max hissed. The link. But I love Max, just like my own kids. Our families are our family, all of us. I am going to miss him. I have a hard time with this. So I've known him for so long. But he did bring joy to my life. And I will miss him. So, anyway, thank you.
I don't have anything prepared because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get through this or not. I still don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I had the wonderful pleasure of knowing Max through Phi Sigma Pi. Admittedly, I knew him before that because we were in the exact same major, and he was one of the reasons that I joined Phi Sigma Pi in the first place. As the years went on, we got closer. We would exchange essays and try and edit for each other, although whenever I got his, I basically just got to read a great piece. Didn't have to even do any editing. I thought I was good, but then he'd give me mine, and I was like, okay. You're way better. And during our junior year at UNI, it was about time for elections for Phi Sigma Pi, and we had to try and figure out who was going to be, president, vice president, all of that stuff on board. And nobody really wanted to be president because we all knew it was a lot of work, but we all knew who should be. And Max was the obvious choice because we knew how much he cared and how much effort he would put into it. So I approached him and I said, look, we both know it's you. So if you will be president, I will be your vice president, and we'll do it together. And he said, okay, if you do it, then I'll do it. And it was easy as that, and he was an amazing president. He made my job really easy. And he was just such a good person. It was like stupid how good of a person he was. He made me want to be better. He still does. When we did our level 2s together, which is kind of like student teaching, but smaller, I got to see how good he was. And I just knew he would be better at me than I would be. He was so caring, and he just understood any student who came across his path. He could immediately get them to trust him and open up, and I don't know if he felt this way, but it was so effortless for him. And I am really sad that the world is not going to get as an amazing teacher as I'm sure he was, as I've heard from his students. I was so lucky to get to do some student teaching with him so that I could see it firsthand. I'm going to miss him very, very much, and I will do my best to try and inspire others like he inspired me, and be a better person, be a better teacher, and try and appreciate
all of the things that he loved, that I loved too, and just do the next right thing. So I hope you guys do the same.
I was one of his students his first year co-teaching, so everything was still kind of a little weird, trying to figure out how everything would work. But he still tried his best to make every single student's teaching, working, anything curricular, easy as possible. I struggled that year with some personal stuff, and he realized that. He worked as hard as he could to make it comfortable and easy for me, but he still pushed me to do it as best as I could. He made me better at public speaking, and I don't know where I would be now without him.
My name's Sydney. I had the privilege of meeting Max by dating his best friend, Raylan. We lived together with him for a year in our apartment building. Sorry, not playing. Let's see, the good memories have to be the fact of seeing Max use a Walmart grocery cart, hauling everything into the apartment back and forth, or trying to hide the cart in our apartment complex so that he had it for groceries the next trip. My cat and his cat chasing each other in our apartment fighting, and then just hearing him yelling "damn cat," or him sitting in his bed and seeing both the cats fighting and then crawling under his bed and him having to listen to it for the next 30-40 minutes. Me and him having failed tequila shots in the kitchen, and I'm not able to take mine, and he's not taking his because he's too busy laughing at me. I will never forget the fact I got Fruit Salad by the Wiggles stuck on his Alexa, playing on repeat, and him yelling at Alexa to shut up. I really want to do that again, but I don't know where his Alexa is. Or the fact I had two fans that tell him to bring to his classroom, hearing him complain how his students are hot in their GSA class, or the fact that they have no AC, and I told him to bring this fan every single day. I will say I've seen him at his desk more than I've seen him get out of his bedroom. Constantly while listening to some anime while he's working on different class projects. Spending more time with him than my own girlfriend while we were living together. Her begging me to stop talking to Max and stop talking about animes or different books. I don't know. It's gonna be hard not doing that every day. But just want to say I'm glad I met him, even though I've known him for less than 3 years. I'm glad I met him. And I'm glad to see that there's this many people here to see him. Thank you.
Super impromptu. My name is Joe. I met Max in college. We were neighbors, actually. We met each other in the hallway, and then we were like, why do we look exactly like each other? Because at the time, I had very short hair. As you've seen some of the pictures, Max had like shaved head and blonde hair. I had the exact same. We had the same glasses. We're about the same height as well, so people would always confuse us for each other around campus. Like, people would genuinely call me Max, 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 like, until I turned around, they were like, oh my, wait, that's not Max. So that's how I met him originally, but Max honestly was probably one of the best people I've ever met. He was, as everyone has said, is very open and genuine and would do literally anything for anybody. He'd give his right arm to a stranger on the street, I swear. I will forever cherish and remember him, and I'm so glad to see so many beautiful faces here. Thank you all so much for loving him just as much as we all love him.
I was one of the GSA leaders at WASH, and I knew Mike maybe a year and a half, 2 years. first year he was student teaching, I believe, so I didn't get to know him much. And then last year, I got to know him a lot. He became a supervisor, he became our friend. He was so close in age, just like 6 years apart from us, that it felt like it was a friend grading our homework and looking through it instead of a teacher. It was great. He went to almost every Pride event with us, and when there wasn't food or someone was allergic to something, he would always order them stuff and just I don't remember anything else that I was going to say. I'm not good at public speaking. We didn't really get to that part in my class. It was kind of a little crazy. But he was just the most amazing teacher I've ever had. Not that my other teachers here aren't great, but he was definitely the one I was closest with.
So I knew Max because they were my siblings' teacher at WAJ. Well, GSA teacher, I guess. He'll always have a special place with me because he made my sibling feel safe at school. When my siblings started high school, I was terrified for them to start because they're transgender, and I was terrified that they just weren't going to fit in. And then they came back from school like the first week, they're like, look, I met this guy and he's the GSA teacher, his name's Max. And then every single day home from school, Max and I did this today, and I went to Max's class during lunch today, and I had a bad day, so I went to Max's class today. It's Max, 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 all the time. So I feel like I know him so well because they came home and talked about him every day. And he made everybody in the LGBTQ community feel safe, so that basically had him as a special place in my heart to make everybody feel safe. So. Sorry.
I'm from the University of Northern Iowa, and I taught Max. And it was the first semester after the pandemic. We were back in the classroom. You could actually see people like 3D, which was great. And so we had a good class, and I have some of his essays here, and family. I'll drop this off for you. So these are some of the flash essays that he wrote in my class. So I wanted to read you one of them. It's called Fortunes. A small glass jar sits on my desk. It fits in the palm of my hand, and probably yours too. I've had this jar since I was 10 years old. I'm 20 now. The jar hasn't changed, never has it been replaced, printed, or painted, or held in a child's grimy hands, except for my own. This little glass jar has moved desks 6 times. When I go, it comes with me, just in case I need to add more to its contents. What does this little jar have inside of it? Why is it so important? Well, it has been collecting my future for the past 10 years, as well as teaching me a new language. Do you know what this little jar contains yet? I'll give you some time. If you didn't get it, keep reading and I'll tell you soon. Another hint, I don't allow others to add to the jar. It's not personal to me if I allow that. Have you figured it out? Well, maybe I'm not good at riddles. Describing and explaining things is a hard thing to do. How do the little goblins under the bridges in fantasy worlds do it? I guess I'll just tell you what I keep in my little glass jar. Fortunes. The ones you get from fortune cookies. Not the people with the crystal balls, but the ones that come from Chinese restaurants. For half of my life, this little jar has been collecting my fortunes, telling me I will visit wonderful places, meet new people, or come across a sum of money. Yes, I know collecting these fortunes only gives me vague aspirations. They're no different from a daily horoscope, telling me I'm in my feels today and should be more social and to not forget to drink water. So why do I keep all of the fortunes? The simple answer is because I think they're cute. There isn't really any meaning behind keeping them. I mean, it's just a vague writing on a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper with vague writing on one side and a foreign language I will never learn on the other. I mean, the lid pops off the little glass jar, clearly indicating the need for a bigger one, Or maybe it is telling me that I need to throw it away. I won't though, no matter how full it gets and how many sniggers I get when I tell you. I want to tell you a story within a story. Every day in middle school, my friend Ray Lynn and I would get Chinese food from Hy-Vee. After all, we both lived right across the street from it. I won't go into specifics of the day, let's just focus on the fortune, or actually the back of the fortune. I don't recall what the fortune said. I'd get it out, but it's tightly packed at the bottom of the little jar. What I do recall is the back side. In Chinese, the back said, "Best friend." We both loved that and decided to cut the fortune in half, giving one of us the best and the other the friend. To this day, Raylin and I have the split fortune. I actually just ate Chinese food yesterday for lunch. My fortune said, "You will find a way to live out your wildest dreams." Hopefully you too can take this fortune and apply it to your life.